Hello, and welcome to Proper Chat, a Love Island podcast. I'm Nicole, one of your three. We usually have four hosts, but today we're just having three of us. And we are chatting all about Love Island All Stars Season 2. We've watched the first two episodes, so episode 1 and 2. So if you haven't seen those episodes, go back, watch them, then come back and listen to this episode because there will be spoilers. In this episode, we're going to cover the top moments from the week. We're going to play our iconic tier ranking game, and we're going to give you some gossip from the Love Island streets, from our feeds. But before we do, I want to say hello to my fellow hosts. Folks, give us your name, introduce yourselves, and then I want to hear a high and low from your week.
Hi everyone, my name is Langa. My high of the week is that my brother just passed in South Africa, we call it matric. So he just passed his senior year of high school and he came third in his entire grade. And the bestest news of it all is he's going to my alma mater, which is the University
Woo!
of Cape Town, which is exactly where Love Island, not the university, but the city is where Love Island this season gets shot. So I'm really excited.
Oh,
And
fun fact. I didn't know that tie-in,
Yay.
girl.
oh yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of exciting. And then I guess my low of the week is nothing because I am trying to stay bright and optimistic in 2025.
Good for you.
I love that. So my high started with a low. I have been dealing with my sauna being damaged, my heater being damaged for so many months at this point. And our electrician came in after basically charging us like an arm and a leg for this work, came in and was like, it's fixed. He left. I texted the group chat, oh my gosh, you guys, so happy it's fixed. We go and try it out. It's not fixed. So then
No.
we try to get him back. He wasn't responding, and then finally got him back like the next day, thankfully. And he actually fixed it. So it ended up being a high. It's finally fixed, which I'm really excited about. And then my low was today, ITV. I'm trying to be in good spirits, but ITV was like killing my vibe. I was trying to watch the show and it just kept giving me the worst error messages like every few minutes. So my experience watching today's episode was like 10 minutes of watching and then like 2 minutes of annoying error messages and then like refresh. So it took like so long. But other than that, all good.
Aw, well, I'm glad to hear you're in good spirits. Yeah, I feel like ITV is like pretty glitchy and they should get their shit together because they have like the top show and they should be thriving and pushing out the content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So my high of the week, honestly, I'm just really excited that Love Island is back and that I get to watch it again. I feel like I haven't had like a good distraction show in a while, even over like break. I didn't really have many good shows to watch. And it's been fun watching with Boris again and like chatting about the couples and um being a little catty and enjoying that kind of together. And no lows for me either, always in good spirits.
Cool.
All right, folks. So we are going to get into the top three moments from the week, which is only three moments from the last two episodes, but a lot happened and we got introduced to a lot of new people. So we're going to talk through first the initial coupling. So when we got introduced to everyone in the villa, Maya Jama came in and she said that the public has already been voting for them to be coupled up. So they had already decided. And actually, I feel like, did we get to vote? I don't remember if we did, but we saw it on the social, so we knew it was coming. And the first couples were Curtis and Kaz, Catherine and Nas, India and Scott, Luca and Olivia, Ronnie and Elma, and then the exes got back together, Gabby and Marcel. And then the very end of it, there was a twist of Ekansu coming into the villa. What did you guys think of the initial coupling? Did the public get some things right or anything that you see sort of like sparkling together, like any couples that you see could work?
I think Elma, I can't actually remember her because she said like she's the one who walked in with Moira. And obviously, like Moira is obviously like so iconic. And like it was when I saw they do the replay with her, I was like, girl, I cannot remember you, but I'm
Yeah.
glad they brought her back. And then now it seems like her and Ronnie have like such a cute little banter thing going on. So I thought like they kind of were a good pairing, especially since I didn't even know her. But when I saw them getting paired up, I was like, well, okay, this is cool. And another one I kind of liked because I was like, I could kind of see it. Not sure if they're each other's actual type, but the Catherine and Nas kind of pairing. I thought they're kind of cute. I just saw it. I was like, okay, I actually can see this. I don't know if it was like it'd be like it's giving like Whitney and Locken, but a 2.0. But I also was like, not personality wise. I think just it looks nice and they vibes. It could be, or it could just be a friendship couple.
Mm. Yeah, that's funny that you said that thing about Elma because like when they did the intros with every single person, it was like my claim to fame is this iconic moment. And then Elma's was my claim to fame is I walked in with Moira. And I was like, poor girl, her claim to fame is that she walked in with a more iconic Islander. But it did remind me of her, so I guess poor thing. Anyway.
Gabby?
I don't know if I completely agree with Catherine and Naz. I just feel like their personalities are not, it's just too calm, too mellow for me. Like both of them to have the same mellow type of personality. So I don't know if they'll go that far. I felt like, shoot, why did Catherine not get put with someone that was like more, vibrant? Not that Naz isn't, but I just feel like their personalities are just too similar,
Hmm.
in my opinion. I thought Marcel and Gabby, that was brutal. Like, why did they do that to them? I have no idea. And it's just like setting them both for failure, which is just, not something we want to see. Curtis did say that he really liked Kaz, from the beginning, but he also mentioned Catherine. So even though in our predictions we did not get most of these couples right, we only got one couple right. I feel like I didn't feel too off with our predictions because they somewhat have like some chemistry.
Hmm.
Was it
Um,
India and Scott that we got right? No,
no, the
Luca and
only
Olivia.
Luca and Olivia were the only
Mm.
couple that we got right. Yeah.
That's funny because while I was watching, I actually was like, as soon as they said India, I went Scott, and then it was Scott. So I was like, clearly I had it right today, not last week.
I
Yeah.
know we were rooting for India and Marcel, but now seeing how their personalities are, I had no idea. I just thought they would look cute together, but their personalities are like not at all compatible in my opinion. She's so calm, reserved. Like I don't see them both together.
I'm also one note about what I said last week about Marcel. I take it completely back. I can, no, thank you. Like when I like watched it, I was like, wow, this is because obviously I did not watch his season, but again, what happened with them did not happen during their season. But just like his reaction in front of them, like the people, and him just being like, and then her basically explaining why they broke up, how they broke up on the vacation. And then on top of that, he then is there to sort of defend himself and being like, well, we were like this weird showman's kind of thing where you could see she's hurt because she's like, wow, okay, I'm hearing all this for the first time. And he was just like, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. And I know like years have passed. And then also like the dating timeline, he's like, it was like 6 months. She was like, not really. And then it also mentions how she kind of still took him back after that. So she was like, well, I'm glad that those months that I took you back didn't even matter because, like, so I just, it was just so
Messy.
wild.
It
It's just,
was.
I was like, whoa, I was not like expecting like this sort of, This because
Yeah.
I feel like he also changed the story when they were one on one. He was more apologetic. He was more, which I also like. I don't like that kind of personality where, like, in front of
Yes.
people, he's willing to be like the biggest asshole. But then when it's one on one, he's like, okay, my bad, my bad. Where it's like, no, like, I think you should have respected her, especially in front of people who are meeting her for the first time.
Yeah, defensive. And like, no wonder the girls gave him a red flag, like, because he did get defensive and like was like, well, we were already like, our relationship was already dying and blah, 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 versus like, that wasn't like an old me. I regret it, like in front of
Yes.
Gabby. It's very, I don't know, like two different sides of a person.
Yes,
Really
because
strange. Yeah. And we thought he was going to be more mature. He came off like the completely opposite of that. He came
yeah.
off like kind of a jerk.
Yes, and I think that also helps with Gabby also basically saying like, I know you say you're a nice guy, but that's the trick that you played on me when I first met you. So I think I like that she's sort of being like, I know you can be nice, but like you also this is like the act that you kind of do. So I think it's also very nice that she's pretty transparent with it, and it's like any girl who's interested, not saying don't be interested, but also don't fall for the nice guy thing because that's what I fell for the first time. And then we go on vacation and then
Yeah, that detail was tea. I was like, damn, in the same hotel room. I was like, okay,
well, you
more,
went to
more,
the
more.
gym. How long are her gym sessions? Like how?
I mean, it doesn't probably take him that long.
How did he snatch someone up in the room is my question. I don't get it. It's crazy.
Men do the most.
Well, the
Oh,
other tea that we heard was that what Olivia mentioned that Ronnie slid into her DMs and he was
Still
basically
with
not,
Harriet.
yeah, he was
flirty
still
with
with
Harriet.
Harriet. So that's a little sketchy. That's
Hmm.
new information.
Hmm.
But also not surprising information. Like I was not surprised whatsoever.
Hmm.
Ronnie's gonna do the Ronnie thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your thoughts so far of India and Scott are because they have a really interesting dynamic and it's weird. I feel like they like each other, but I can't fully tell if they're like still sussing out if it's still a friendship because like they went into like Scott's past and how he was kind of like a party boy and like that's when India knew him and like they've known each other for years and like Scott's sober now and anyway, I'm curious, do you think that they're just a friendship couple or do you think that they're gonna go like be interested in each other?
I mean, the insight that we got during that moment when they were talking was pretty crazy. Like it was the imagery was pretty insane. Like it sounds like he was very much like a very aggressive person while drinking. So it's almost like she might have still thought of him in that way. I don't know what how they were surrounded before then, but that's kind of what he thought, she thought of him was like he was very much like thinking like, hey, you have the wrong person in mind. I'm different. Like he came in with that energy. But also I don't necessarily see them getting into the romantic state. They just seem very friendly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What
I
about
don't
you,
know,
Langa?
Linga. What do you think?
I think, I mean, like they could be, but I also think it's still early days. And I think maybe Olivia is still mulling in her brain as whether she can make that transition, maybe based on the fact, I love a lovers, I mean, a friends to lovers trope. But I think she's still deciding, as Gabby said, traumatic memories. Because she also said, like, can you still date someone who's not sober, right? Because she's also thinking, like, I want to hit the streets and drink. Like, what's it going to mean for us? So I think for me, it's like it's too early. And also she seemed like not that she felt a little touched slash possessive when she thought that she was about to lose him to Ekansu. And I
Yeah.
think that was, just an interesting evaluation. And I think that's what the other girls said to her as well. Like I think Kaz even said that to her. She was like, well, maybe evaluate how you're feeling right now, knowing you're gonna potentially like lose him, let's say.
Totally. I found that super interesting. And like it was funny watching like Scott, Ronnie, and who was the other guy?
Curtis.
Curtis go on that date with Ekansu. And all three of the girls like were like already getting a little possessive, like all trying to like hear on their conversation and all of that. And like for sure Elmo was like already feeling insecure
Hmm.
and
Definitely.
like Olivia or India was kind of having some of those feelings come up, but she didn't come across it or didn't come across in like a very like aggressive or like insecure way, but you could tell she was like curious if Ekansu was gonna steal her man. Kaze, I don't know. I think she was curious, but she didn't seem to like get the like don't steal Curtis vibe. I don't know. And
I think
speaking of
all of
which,
them are just
go
probably
ahead.
really nervous. Sorry, I was just gonna say that probably all of them were just nervous about them potentially being dumped from the island because we've seen it before. To be completely honest, that's what I was watching. Like that's what I was thinking as I was watching. It's like, okay, if you steal him, I might be dropped.
Okay. So you took it as like them worrying about having to leave so soon. Okay. Interesting. Well, speaking of Ekin-Su, she then in the recoupling in episode 2 picks Curtis. What do you guys think about her choice in Curtis? I thought it was interesting.
I thought her entrance was pretty great. Like I loved what she was wearing. And also I'm like Ekansu like works out. So like you can see she's like because she's not like working out thin, she's like working out and like fit. And I think she looked fantastic. I think if not, maybe one of my favorite outfits of the night. I think it's Ekansu. Like she knows how to dress for her like her body. And I think that dress was just it was like everything. I don't know if it was like a homage to a Kim Kardashian dress because I sort of feel like I've seen Kim Kardashian in a similar look. But whatever it was, I think she looked really good. And so I think that's like another way. And also she walked in so confidently. Like I was like, wow, like it can she like kind of like it was crazy. Like I compared to like how we had experienced like the other girls. I feel like the energy it can like showed up with kind of like was so different from the different vibes. But to answer your question with Curtis, I actually think Curtis is not had like a glow up, but I feel like he's a little different from the last time he was on because actually I think he's a lot fitter this time around. Like I looked at his body and I was like, interesting. I can see like in more abs because he was a little like, you know how similar like the other season with Zach when he kind of gained weight. Like him and Zach have that similar body type, you know, when you're like super tall and like when you gain weight, it's in the guttish area. Do you understand what I mean? But I feel like Curtis, I can see from what I remember his body looking like with the t-shirt off looks very different. And he also has a different haircut. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to suss out the haircut. It reminds me of like Jim Carrey in this really strange movie that I can't recall. But I do think like he's a little different, but I just don't think he should dance because when he danced, it just gave me the ick. But it's I mean, it was shocking, but I'm like, I just feel like Iken did love the eye contact because she did mention that. She was like, oh, I loved how like he was just like looking at me at the other side of the room. And I think like confident person wants to be with a confident guy. So I think maybe she enjoyed the fact that like in with a room of three other guys, he didn't feel like he needed to be like the chattiest, but he knew how to like get her attention, which is kind of sexy.
Totally.
Yeah. Something about him, it feels like he does some eye thing. Like he has like a way of like looking at people and kind of
Hmm.
connecting with his eyes, which is interesting. When she walked in though, I totally agree. I was like, whoa, she's incredible. It's almost like they brought like an actress, like an someone like famous in, like, you know, like Maya or someone like super famous. Everyone knew that her and it was like really cool to watch. Did not expect Curtis to be the guy. I almost feel like she was gonna pick Scott, but Scott was kind of giving her bad vibes, like, you're too risky. Like, I think I'm feel more comfortable with India. He did mention that, so I almost feel like she decided to go that route, but did not think about it. I didn't think they would pair up because she mentioned that she lives in the same building as Mora. So I thought they were friends. So that was like kind of surprising to me.
That was a spicy detail. I'm like envisioning them on the outside now, having to come to her apartment and like running into the ex. Anyway, I
I
guess
mean,
if
Moira, I mean, he did say Moira ignores him. So I don't think, I mean,
Yeah.
also, I don't think Moira, she's like, I don't care, you
yeah,
know?
in her Irish
Yeah.
accent. Yeah. Yeah. I
I don't think about
I
Curtis.
don't think about him. Exactly. Yeah, I honestly like it's so funny though to me that Curtis is and he's drawn, I think, to Ekansu in a way that he was drawn to Moira, that like I think the type that usually goes for him is like a nice girl and like these powerful, like iconic women somehow find like this eye contact and maturity in him really interesting. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how their dynamic works out and what happens. And I do agree. I feel like Curtis definitely has had a glow up and he looks 10 out of 10.
Different. Yeah, like different.
100%.
Because
Yeah.
you like, I'm like, am I finding him cute or like what's happening?
No,
He's
yeah,
got
he's definitely had a glow up.
yeah, he's got such just a nice smile and like the look that he gives women when he's like listening to them. I don't know.
Mm.
It's so attractive. And so I totally get what Ekansu says. Okay, the last moment of the week that I want to talk about, or the last episode, is Casey arriving and coming to the balcony and saying, "Who wants a kiss?" And then immediately coming and joining the group and like giving hugs and everyone being like, "Oh hey, bro, how's it going?" All the guys being stoked about this, and then Kaz immediately being like, oh, you've been in other girls' DMs. I've heard that you've been dating around. You've been like with all the other islanders, blah, blah, blah. What did you guys think of this moment? Any reactions?
Yeah. I just thought it was messy because of I forgot the friend, what her
Georgia.
cousin, Georgia, yeah.
Hmm.
Georgia Harrison, I'm sorry. Like after watching that season, I could just tell she probably like I don't really know what happened between her and Casey, but I just feel like she might have romanticized the situation to and talked about it with a friend and to come in Kaz with that energy. It's like Casey just walked in. I am not a Casey fan. I don't like him whatsoever, but he just walked in and it's like she's telling the whole group of people that he's been in every single girl's DM. To his defense, like I think it's fine for him to be in everybody's DM. He's like trying to meet people. He's been in on this show. He's trying to meet every single person, trying to like mingle and see if he can meet someone like within the Love Island family. So in my opinion, I thought like that's kind of rude of her to just have given that much negativity towards Casey. At the same time, we are watching a show. It's almost like Kaz is trying to speak up, get her time, her airtime.
Could be. I also like, in my defense, so first off, my reaction to Casey walking in was like, this guy again. Here we go with giving us the same like Playboy who wants a kiss energy. Like I feel like maybe my reaction would have been similar to Kaz. Like if he comes in with this kind of like I'm ready to party kind of energy, I would be like, what are you doing here? Like are you here for love? You're like giving us this Playboy energy and you've already dated around. Like, what's the purpose of you being on the show? And I don't think she went about it in like an appropriate way. I wish she would have maybe like addressed it with him first and then like been like or gone to the girls and been like, hey, heads up, I've been hearing this thing just to be like on your side. Watch out for Casey. But I think her reaction had to do with his reaction, his behavior coming into the villa being this kind of like loud, like, hi, I'm so excited to be here and find the love of my life. That would have been a better like initial meeting, like maybe a more serious tone, like I'm here on a different note. But that was my take.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
go ahead, Langa.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like I was like, I didn't need to see Casey again, to be honest. But I think for Kaz, maybe her reaction maybe can definitely voice her opinion, but maybe could be cool if maybe she did it like just telling the girls on the side. Like I think we had a moment where someone else did that, where it's like, hey, I'm just gonna like tell, like not tell you, but also like I understand you also, as Gabby said, you're Georgia's ride or die, and we're already like so like fine, but also it's like you also are meeting people for the first time, so you also want to make a good impression on yourself, and to have this early drama, in my opinion. I know it's a show, I love mess, but I don't know if like that was really necessary, especially for Casey. Like I'm like, I don't think that's a hill you have to die on. Like I don't think people look so Casey and were like, wow, he must be changed, man. You know, so I just don't think that he's the hill that you need to die on, especially if she did not necessarily have a relationship with him. And I think how, I mean, he also, I think, mentioned like, what if I came and I started telling people what they think about you, which I mean makes sense because obviously I think Nicole mentioned last week was like Kaz had a headline a couple of years ago about her. And it's at the end of the day, it's like not saying Casey's changed, but I don't think that was like a good use of like her time. And I mean, having him just arrived, I mean, maybe she could have had time tomorrow to sort of bring a kickoff, you know, it just seemed like he just got there.
It was a lot, yeah. Also, they were like
Yeah.
on either side of the pool, and I was like, who's gonna get pushed in? I was like standing there. Casey was literally like on the edge. I was like, what's gonna happen? That's gonna be crazy. But no
I
one ended up in the pool.
I also think like like Casey mentioned, she doesn't know him. Even Casey said, I don't hang out with you. Like I haven't even spent that much time with you. You don't know me. For someone to like accuse someone that hard if they don't know them and they just know of someone, maybe they dated their friend, that is a girl's conversation. Like, hey, my friend dated him and this is kind of what I heard. But it's not a conversation that I think it's appropriate to bring up as like an introduction. Like, oh, I heard you're like this crazy guy that just like sleeps around, talks with everybody. I just think it's like rude. Now it's time for our infamous proper ranking game. In this game, we rank contestants based on a set of categories. And this week, our categories will be based on just like our first predictions, like first what we think of them so far. So we'll find love, or maybe we think that they'll find followers or clout, or islanders that we think are just going to be stuck on Friendship Island. Those are our three categories. But before we get started, Nicole mentioned that Brana is missing. So our usual tradition is that we have a challenge for a girl if she's missing. So this challenge is for Brana to send us a TikTok dance because she's a great dancer and we love to see it. So regardless of if you're hearing this, Brana, you still have to send us your TikTok dance. But the challenge will be if you're not listening to this, then you have to send us 3 TikTok dances for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So get excited for this dance. We're very pumped to see it. And yeah, 1 versus 3. We'll
That's
be
if
excited to see
TikTok
it.
exists. That's hoping that TikTok will exist
Yeah,
on Friday,
literally. I
Saturday,
was
and
thinking that.
Sunday.
Just any
Guys,
dance video.
regardless,
We're putting it somewhere,
yes,
obviously.
it might be a Britney Spears dance. It might be a TikTok dance. We'll see. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Brittany.
All right, here we go. So starting with our girls, and then we'll move into the guys and our new bombshell. So starting with Olivia, what do you guys think? She came off really strong, but not as a villain like we saw in her last season. So is she here to find love, do you guys think? Or is she here just for followers or clout? Or is she gonna be stuck in Friendship Island?
I think she's here for love. I think like Olivia in her like core of core is maybe like a romance, like she takes like love very seriously, because she also mentioned like she's had situationships with people and she's dated people, but she's never really like given her all in something. So I think she's open to love with the right person.
Mm. See, initially my thought was that she's here for clout. I think that's because of her like villain era side, and also because I think she has like gone for this type of like bad boy like initially like Luca. And
Hmm.
so a part of me is like, is she, I mean, she can chase attraction. I think that's like maybe you start there on your way to finding love, but like if she was serious, I think about like having a family and settling down and all of that, like maybe she would question who like who she was gonna start pairing with, like maturity levels and all of that. I don't know. I'm like so torn on her because I do think she has the potential to find someone that fits her vibe and like she can settle with, but my initial reaction is that she came in for clout. But
My my thoughts are when she was having that conversation, I believe with Luca, she was talking about how she had never dated anybody before.
Hmm.
And because she had not met anyone, so it almost feels like she might have just like a really hard time like meeting people and kind of like committing to them. And I'm struggling because I don't know if she's committed to finding love because she picked Luca, and I don't know, I didn't necessarily see her pick like someone that's like super serious about marriage because Luca doesn't feel like he's, 100% there for marriage. And there's a lot of people in this villa right now who have like expressed kind of more of like, I'm older, I want to settle down, I want 5 kids. So that's kind of why I think she might be here for followers and clout. But I also do see it like for her. I do see it if she is anywhere, she's gonna find love here in the island versus like on her DMs. So
so 2-1 for clout, I think. Sorry, Lunga. But
sorry, Langa.
she can convince us. We'll see in other seasons. I also think she's like in the group on the younger side compared to other Islanders. So that to me, just because you're young doesn't mean you can't want to settle down, but it gives to me like I'm still maybe figuring out myself and trying to chase clout vibes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since we talked about Olivia, might as well talk about Luca, jumping forward to the guys. Do you guys think that he's also here for Cloud? Do you guys think he's gonna be stuck on Friendship Island, or is he gonna
Clout.
find love again?
He's a
Cloud.
clout
Yeah.
chaser.
Yeah,
I'm
next.
convinced.
Next. We don't even have next.
Yeah.
No, we don't have much more to say. Okay. Well, next is our girl, Catherine. Right now, it just feels like, well, Linka, you mentioned you really like her and Naz and what they have going. Do you think she's there to find love, find clout, or will she be stuck in Friendship Island again?
My thought is I don't know if NASA's for her necessarily, but I do think if some like really good guys come in, like I think she could easily be like head over heels for them and fall in love. Um, Unfortunately, right now I don't know if like I need to see more scenes of her talking with people to know if she's like any vibes are happening. But it seems like she's more friendship vibes right now.
That's fine for me.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't see her person right now on the island. Like I feel like she's like such a great girl's girl when I see her talking to the other girls. She's like very engaging. She seems very great, but I just don't see her as like someone that's like that excited for anybody else right now. Yeah. What about Naz? Do you guys kind of put him in the same bucket?
He just
Yeah,
came out of a long-term relationship. So I can't, I mean, I'm not saying like you can't, but I also am like, I also heard, like, I don't know. Like, I think for me, it's not will find love. He's whatever of the, he's either gonna like here for followers and clout, or he's just gonna be stuck in Friendship Island for me.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
interested to see more of him yet. I still feel like I haven't gotten a good idea of him, except for this like been in a long-term relationship background. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I tend to put everyone in the Friendship Island that doesn't have like red flags. And I think of like red flags as like someone that's there for like money or clout. since he doesn't have any red flags so far, I think Friendship Island's probably where he's at in my head.
Totally.
Um, what about India? She's quiet, reserved, but also protective over her and Scott. Do you think she's there to find love
Yeah,
or anything?
I also looked up her age. I think she's 34. So, and she
Mature.
said this, like she's had a hard time like finding someone, but I
Hmm.
think she is ready to find someone. It sounds like she's like wifey like material and she's like stunning. I'm so surprised that she hasn't been in a committed relationship for a while. So, I hope for her that this goes well.
Yeah, and when she was talking to Scott, she was one of the ones that was like, "Okay, yeah, I want to get married. I want to have 4 kids." Like she was very sure about that.
Yeah.
What about Scott? I'm a little torn with him.
I did not watch his season, but
He was with
from
Katie for a long time.
yeah,
But he had like tumultuous with Katie because she's also fiery, so like that already tells you. But I also think, I mean, people gave him the red, what's the word? Gave him the red flag because I think they said it's just weird that like you haven't had a relationship in so long. But I also think he probably had party days and then obviously now he's gotten sober. So I think he's probably just like kind of embracing his new life as a sober person. And I'm sure like that takes like some other like new foundational work, which you know what I can understand like why it hasn't been as easy to be in relationships because like now you have to like date in different spaces versus before you would date girls on the streets. And like now maybe he can't always date girls on the streets.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
So
great
I would
point,
say
Langa.
hopefully I think you'll find love. He seems very mature. Like I think I actually find him very attractive. I think he yeah, I feel like I hope he finds love because there's just something very attractive to him, very mature, very kind of confident and like kind of knows what he wants. So
Yeah.
this is rare sometimes with these men.
Totally. Yeah. So I'm happy to put him in We'll Find Love because I do think all of that stuff is happening for him. But when Boris and I were talking about him, he brought up an interesting point that like
Hmm.
when he was talking with Ekansu and I think another conversation, he wasn't necessarily like able to describe what he wanted out of a woman yet. And I
Hmm.
think it's actually because he's spending so much time on his journey and his sobriety and like learning who he is.
Hmm.
So I feel like this could go either ways. Like he's learned so much about himself that now he's actually going to learn who he wants and then find them in the villa, or it's going to be a really good self-learning journey and he's going to make a ton of friends and have a great time. Those are the two spots
Hmm.
that I'm thinking for him, but we'll see. I'm really interested in having him in the villa and hearing more about him.
Yeah, I love that perspective, a men's perspective that I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we've seen so much talk about his growth that it's kind of like I totally agree where you guys are thinking. It's more like, is he, focusing on his personal growth or will he be able to kind of like move past that and find like the love of his life? But also, I do think that this would be the platform to do it because he does feel like he's ready. So we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
have we'll put him in We'll Find Love for now. And then if we need to move him, we will. What about Gabby? She was obviously paired with her ex, and right now I almost feel like she's in a weird spot where she's just like having to mingle with the guys, but we haven't really necessarily seen it. The only conversation we've seen so far has been her and Luca. Luca kind of being super excited for her, and then kind of her shutting him down.
Well, I don't know. It was hard for me to tell if he was like super engaged in the conversation or if she was, like if there was anything there. Like sparks
Well,
weren't flying in my perspective, but like there was still flirting. I don't know. I have a hard time sussing that out, and I
well,
don't know what I think about them.
Luca was when Gabby very, very early on in the evening, when Gabby kind of walked by, he was talking to one of the boys and saying like, "Oh wow, she's interesting. Like I'm interested in her."
Mm,
He,
okay.
hmm
Hmm. Interesting. We'll see.
And
I don't know if she's like, I think she's here for love, but I don't know if she's gonna find it, is my take.
Yeah, so I think
mhm.
like we have will find love. I feel like it would be like here for love, you know what I mean? Because it's like I
Ah,
feel like she's here for love, but will
yeah.
she find love? Question
Another
mark.
question. Yeah,
Because
totally.
also I think like with the Marcel thing, as much as like she's like now that like I don't know what the word is, like there is like something, because I feel like with her she's kind of like, I know it's been years, I know he's apologized and maybe part of her, like I feel like there's moments where you feel like she's kind of leaning into Marcel, but
Mhm.
obviously herself is telling her not to. Because remember, she was like, well, what is the people gonna think? And everyone's like, don't worry about what people think, do what you want. But I also think there's a, like the problem is like she's also she should, if that's what she's considering, I still think she should stay pretty open to everyone, because I also feel like Marcel's giving me I'm very open to get to know other people, but maybe worst case scenario, maybe like we can talk things out, but also like she's not his main priority. So I think she just needs to make sure that like if she's wanting to hypothetically, spin the block and go around the block one more time with him, I think she still needs to like get to know the other people as well, because like a book has, I think somebody said like a book, you can read the same book twice, but it has the same ending.
Yeah, I like
Mhm.
that. I don't know who said that, but it's facts.
Yeah, I love that. And I think Luca said it. So do you guys think she's gonna be stuck in Friendship Island though? Because she's kind of stuck on the Marcel situation and she was almost like set up in the wrong way. Like she's set up for failure right now. Everybody's coupled up, kind of getting on with their couples, and she's like kind of in this like Friendship Island. Or do you guys think that she will start chatting with everybody and like will find love?
I think if she does, she will, because I think she's like a really nice person. They like love that she's Scouse. And I think she's just like a confident, like her and India, like giving confidence, giving like, even like Ekansu, like they're giving such confidence. So like I'd say she should find love, even if it's not someone who's arrived yet.
Cool. I'm good with that.
Yeah, definitely. What about Marcel? We loved him in the
Yeah.
last episode, and now we're like not really about him now that we've learned a little bit more about who he is. Do you guys think I don't hear anybody speaking of Marcel, so I don't think anyone's that interested. So it's
Well, I
almost
mean, he's
like,
really old. I mean, he's even older than
yeah,
me.
He's old. He has so much baggage with the freaking cheating and
who's
his
gonna
new
follow him?
cheating. I
Yeah.
I have no idea. And like I know he said I'm like ready to baptize myself with fire being in here, but like is he just trying to get on a vacation to get away from the drama of his life? Like that's what he's giving me.
Yeah, I didn't watch these
Yeah.
seasons, so I don't know enough. So for me, it's like he can go anywhere. I just need to see. Like right now,
Yeah,
he's
and I mean, he really has to do a full 360 on me because I feel like I'm about to unfollow him. Last week, I was like, follow, follow, follow. And then this week, I'm like, unfollow him because I just don't think he's going to give me much on my social. So I don't know if he's going to really get that many followers or clout with how he's
Yeah.
behaving so far.
Yeah, he
So,
in the first season, it was funny how many times he also mentioned that he was in the Blazing Squad. He wanted like everyone in the village to be like, Did you know I was in the Blazing Squad? You know I'm famous," kind of thing. And
mm,
so I don't know, he's giving me a little bit of like still chasing the cloud a little bit.
mm.
yeah. So,
Next.
yeah,
Next.
next. We'll keep him in the friendship zone for now. I don't know if anybody's gonna go for him. Okay, a girl, Elma, she's really excited with Ronnie at the moment. I think they seem to be having like a cute flirty thing. And I personally think she's here for love, but what do you guys think?
I think
Same.
she's here for love, but I'm worried that she's Ron's new Harriet.
Yeah,
She looks just like her
I
too.
And like
know.
so into him, and he's so funny. Like it's just
Yeah.
like
I called this with Boris. I'm like, they're gonna like get on like fire and then it's gonna crash and burn. Like that's my prediction with them. But I love watching them. It's so entertaining, actually. I really enjoy that.
yeah, because they just love at the craziest things, which I'm like good for them, because I think that's like when you date someone, like you have like your own personal conversation, and if you're both laughing, everyone's like, what are you talking about? And I think their conversation is like that. Like you'd swear they have known each other for a long time and they were joking about the most random things. But I
Totally.
think that's like great. But also I feel like Ron, does love punching above his weight, like in terms of
Mm,
women. So, he just like how he did Harriet, he might just string poor Elma along until maybe another person like an Ekin, then he's like,
yeah.
bye.
Totally. I mean, we even saw this when he was chatting with Ekin and his little like, oh, are you gonna be my Turkish delight? Like
And he's like,
baklava, like
I left it, he's like, you're my favorite dessert. I was like, where
yeah,
you're going right now?
this man is such a flirt. I was dying at that conversation. So funny to me. Anyway,
Typical
that man's there for
Ronnie.
clout.
Yeah.
Definitely. But so then that's a good point. Like Elma, will she find love? I, I don't know. I'm like kind of stuck because I don't necessarily think Ronnie's the right love for her. So will she be able to move on and kind of like pivot and find new connections? Because
Yeah.
she's like putting all her eggs in one basket, it feels
Yeah.
like.
Well,
So we'll have
Gonna
to
end
wait
up
and
with
see.
tears. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And we're calling it right now.
Hmm.
Okay, what about Kaz? She's fiery and she's with, well, she was with Curtis, but Curtis was snagged by Ekin.
mhm.
So what do you guys think? Is she here for followers or clout, or will she find love?
I
Or
am
will
not
she
sure.
be stuck in Friendship Island?
I don't know with her. I really like in the first episode, I was like vibing with her energy because she was like getting the group together, like vibing with the girls, asking questions, like being like such a bubbly personality. And I was like, okay, this girl knows herself. She's got this confidence. She looks great.
Yeah.
I initially think sh like she's there for love, but I don't know if she has her
She's gonna
person in the
find it.
villa yet. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, she's giving friendly vibes with the girls, with the guys. So far, she's not really sticking it on any to anyone.
Totally.
I mean, she was feeding Curtis.
True,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah, but
wasn't feeling her.
I couldn't tell if she was like telling him the proper way in the same way that like if she really liked a guy, she would like I think she would like stick it on them. With Curtis,
Hmm.
I think she was like, "Oh, we're flirting a little. It's kind of fun." Like, but I don't know if she like was like fully in it. That's my take.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just like back to the Casey situation. If you were there for love, like, would you be like trying to make it so much about yourself? Like, she was like, it was almost like she wanted to make it a scene
Well,
that
I think she
she
just
had
probably hadn't seen
information.
him. Maybe she hadn't seen him. And sometimes like we tend to like you can overreact sometimes. And then you're
Yeah.
just like, wow, I forgot where I was for a second. So I think maybe that was the case with her. And as I think you guys mentioned before, was also Casey came in being like back to let's make like come kiss the guy. So I think maybe she just was like, well, there he goes again. And I think she was just like maybe waiting for like that her Charlotte moment, like from Sex in the City with Big. And then she's like, finally, I see you, and now I get to tell you everything that I think about you. So
Totally. Yeah,
I think that's,
Totally.
and I
Yeah.
like think in her defense, like the day before, everyone had this moment where in the whole group they got to talk about their red flags. So maybe she was like, I need everyone to know his red flags in here in this moment. And like not the time, not appropriate. Like maybe the next game girl should have been better.
That's a no, that's a good point. They started it off like that, so it was almost like she felt like
mm,
the right move was kind of like bringing up things that they had brought up before. So that's a great
Yeah.
point. You're in this like
mm,
show too. You're put into it in this environment. It's almost like you just did it yesterday. Why not talk about it today?
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave her in Friendship Island unless you guys think she'll find love. But otherwise, Casey went straight to Clout for me. I
Mm-hmm.
think you guys might agree with that.
Yep.
Lingo, what do you think?
yes,
Yeah, moving on. Ekin, she seems to be really serious about
yes,
finding her love
yes,
connection.
yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then the last person is Curtis.
I think he's here for love.
Yeah.
Same. He like did a whole glow up for this, I think. He was like I'm like, I've reinvented myself. I'm ready to find my woman, and he's giving that kind of energy already.
Yeah. But I mean, as the show goes on, he might have us regret this and maybe show us back to the side that he was before.
True,
So,
true. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our proper ranking game. If you go over to our socials, we'd love to hear what you think too.
what's the scoop on the streets? On the streets? Okay, time for scoop on the streets.
My gosh, I missed that.
Okay, everyone, welcome to Scoop on the Streets. Currently, I would say that there's too much going on the Love Island streets, but we did get such fresh bad news. One thing that Brana did send us while she's been on her work trip is telling us that Tash and Andrew have broken up.
Yes, and the way that people think that they broken up is because someone saw Tasha on Raya. Is that the app?
That's right.
The like one that like you have to get
Celebrities.
approved. Yeah. Which is
Wow.
like to go also like broken up fresh and be on an app. That's tea. I'm very curious. What happened there?
Some people actually saw like a weird what's it called, headline where it said that it's the Dancing with the Stars kind of curse because apparently that show maybe has like people breaking up every time somebody takes part in the show. So I guess the difference is Tash maybe didn't fall in love with her partner, like her dancing partner, but that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm so curious what happened because they seem so strong. They like bought a place together. He was at all of her shows, like,
Wow.
um, so
They had that cute home. I forgot about that.
and a
Oh,
little
that
doggy together.
part.
Wow.
Okay, this is devastating. I totally forgot about that. The
Mm,
dog, the house. Dang, that
yeah.
sucks.
They were fully integrated.
Well, we will continue to cry this week, but we have a bit of we have some good news. Sanam and Kai, Love Island's most underrated couple is they have apparently Nicole read that they have a save the date and they are getting married in August.
This August. Save the date, everyone. I forgot which day it was, but
Are they getting married on TV?
ooh, I
Hmm.
don't think so. They don't give me that vibe, but they did share like a clip of the save the date on their socials. So like maybe they made something cute out of it and like send it to the people that they actually invited.
I'm
I thought.
sorry. I really thought that they were already married. Like I really did. I was like,
I think he
someone could have
proposed
paid
last
me.
year.
Uh, I just remember him like I remember them wearing white, all
Mm-hmm.
white,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's what confused me. I thought that that was like the wedding pictures.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. Yeah, I like think back to their season. I'm like, I totally forget that Kai had a whole thing with Olivia and then Casa, that's when they met. And yeah, they've been solid ever since. So good for them.
Yeah.
Next thing we have Nicole's obviously been keeping up with all of the scoop in the street. Apparently, Olivia Atwood is spilling news about Ronnie and more DM stuff.
Yeah, so we talked
Ooh.
about this actually, Gabby, you mentioned this. Remember how, so it's not Olivia Atwood, but Olivia in the Villa in All Stars right now was like, Ronnie slipped into my DMs while he was with another girl, and it was Harriet. But Olivia Atwood, she's very public. She likes to like spill the tea on her socials. She's really good friends with Ronnie. He was like the best man in their wedding. Anywho, she's like, I would trust Ronnie with my life. And also, I know more about the like back and forth between the DMs. Apparently, like, yes, Ronnie maybe shouldn't have done that, like slipped into her DMs, but Olivia was definitely encouraging it back. And like the spicy detail is like that picture with Ronnie and Harriet holding hands that like got sent around in the press when they were like not official, but just
Mhm.
like having little outing. Apparently, Olivia photoshopped her face on top of Harriet's and sent it to Ronnie. So not only does she like making little jokes about this girl, she's definitely encouraging a little flirty banter with Ronnie. So I found that fact to be very juicy and funny.
That is hilarious.
Because they were never Harriet and him were never like official, right?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
never girlfriends. So it's almost like they were trying to get to know each other. So what if he just got to know someone else? I forgot about that. Like I made a little bit of a fuss, but they weren't really official, so I don't know why it would be technically wrong.
Yeah, and like it's funny that she brought that up as like the little red flag thing when she was
Yeah.
like definitely not,
It's
I
Like
not
don't
his
like he
know.
was
messy liver is
cheating.
still alive somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gabby, what is the situation about Tanielle and Ron? What are they up to? The
Oh.
besties.
Yeah, so Tanya has been married, right? Or she was engaged for a long time, and then I think she's married by now with
Yeah.
someone completely different. Her and Ron just started a podcast. It's like a friendly podcast. I
Hmm.
have not listened to it, so I can't really say much, but it came out today. And it's called I'm Right, He's Wrong, and it's just both of them, Tanyelle and Ron. It's
Uh-huh.
interesting, and we'll see what they talk about. I'm
Hmm.
guessing it'll be like Love Island content, but who knows?
Cute. I'm glad that they're still friends after all these years. I remember them being close in the villa.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really cute. I'm glad for them too. And a podcast, that's pretty serious.
Yeah, we'd know.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for our second episode of season 5 of Proper Chat. We'll return next week to recap more episodes of Love Island All Stars. If you're excited to continue to hear our thoughts and hot takes on this season, please remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We're also on YouTube. If you'd like to see our beautiful faces, no pressure, but pressure. Um, if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. Your engagement really matters to us, and it keeps us excited to continue to making content for you. Also, make sure to follow us on at Proper Chat Pod on both Instagram and TikTok if it still exists by the time you listen to this. And let us
Yeah.
know what content you are enjoying with us and what you'd like to like hear more from us, or in terms of even what posts would you like us to discuss, because we're very much active on social media, so we would love to interact with you as much as we can. And until next time, stay proper and stay chatting.